Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to meeting number 1326. The theme for today's meeting is forget the mistake, remember the lesson. Now I find this theme very interesting because I've tried 3 approaches and I've learned that ultimately the Goldilocks approach works best when you're trying to learn from your mistakes. If you don't, if you brush aside your mistakes, you'll end up repeating them, no matter how much you think you'll remember your lesson. If you dwell on your mistakes, you won't be able to move forward. But when I spend enough time thinking about the mistake I made, even if it's very uncomfortable or sometimes even painful, I learn that it registers in my brain. And the next time I'm in the same situation, my brain throws up these big red flashing warning signs, and I know that there is no way I'm going to forget what I learned. Now, just as we learn from our mistakes, we have done a little bit of trial and error at Toastmasters, and we have found that there are some best practices for each meeting. And I want you all to keep them in mind. 1, do not get up and walk around when a speaker is on stage speaking, so that you don't distract them. If you need to walk around, you can do so when you hear an applause. 2, make sure you don't say anything that can hurt or offend others, because we want this meeting to be a positive experience for everyone. And 3, this is a lesson for the 21st century. Take your cell phones out and put them on silent. I'll give you 10 seconds to do that. Yes. Now I know we all try to learn from the mistakes we made, but there's also an important lesson in learning from the experiences of others. And today I learned a little fact about decision making. When you're making a decision, you should not rush the decision, no matter how much pressure you're under. You still need to put in adequate time to make up your mind. But once you decide, make sure you act quickly. We can all thank Toastmaster Hannah for sharing that piece of wisdom with us. She says that she has learned that from her mentor at work, and she has found it immensely helpful, and it has been impactful in her career. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome onto the stage the person who's going to take this meeting forward, the president of our club, Toastmaster Hannah Victoria.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Toastmaster Chaitra. A very good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests.
Good evening.
I now declare meeting number 1326 as open. For the benefit of the guests, Toastmasters is a platform where we learn and practice public speaking skills. At the Bangalore Toastmasters Club, you will get to learn from the experiences of a student to senior citizens. Ours is a 25-year-old club and a community club. If you'd like to know more about Toastmasters, our Vice President Membership, Toastmaster George Dissa, you can please contact him during the break and he will give you more details. For the minutes of the meeting 1325, it was sent on Sunday. Are there any edits to the minutes of the meeting? I stand to declare minutes of the meeting 1325 as passed. The theme of the meeting: forget the mistake, learn the lesson. Normally, all my life, I have noticed that I've always gone with the flow, be it my school, college, my work, or marriage. But after becoming a Toastmaster, it has given me so many opportunities to sit back and analyze what went wrong, why. I'll tell you a short story. We were 3 friends, Katha, Naz, and myself. This is a story which started over 15 years ago and ended maybe 3 to 4 years back. We were thickest of friends. We worked in the same place. Naz and myself were of the same age. We were just 1 month apart. But Katha was quite elder to us. And she took such good care of us. She was more like an elder sister to us, and everything at home, be it personal or work, we discussed with her. And the 3 of us shared a great bond, a very deep bond. Katha was in the admin and HR department. So and ours was a pretty small company. So she knew a little bit of what's happening with the employees. And every now and then she'll spill some information. And we, being young, we didn't realize the importance or the gossip behind it. We would just listen to it and then just move on. It didn't affect us much. After a few years, Katha and myself left the organization, and Naz was there. In a few years' time, she moved quite many positions. Katha happened to meet one of the colleagues who was still working there. And that boy, he gossiped about Naz. And Katha couldn't resist that. She also added her bit of gossip. And somehow Naz came to know about this conversation between both of them. So Naz called up Katha and she was so upset with her. That 15-year-old bond just went down in 5 minutes. So it was the gossip which just broke down such a deep bond. So that was one lesson I learned about gossip. Never to gossip. Now if I try to analyze, gossip is like this. When you eat something you can't digest, you feel you want to get it out, yes? It's not digested within your system, you're uncomfortable. And the person who receives it is the person who you're going to vomit it on. And the person who's listening, if you are accepting it, it is vomit all over you. So next time if somebody gossips, you think of this, that it's just vomit coming over you. To take the meeting forward, I'd like to introduce to you a senior Toastmaster. The first thing that comes to my mind about this Toastmaster, he's one of the most empathetic people I have met in Toastmasters. He believes, he has a lot of credibility he believes in the credibility of the values that Toastmasters imbibes in us, which is RISE, that is respect, integrity, service, and excellence. He has great patience and a great human being as well. Please join me to welcome Toastmaster Jose Paul.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, Madam President, for that wonderful introduction. It was actually very flattering. Thank you very much for that. Dear Toastmasters and guests, a very warm welcome to today's meeting. I'm the host, and we'll take you through the meeting. Now, before we proceed further, let me remember to give you some lessons that I learned, and as the theme suggests, from the mistake that I made, actually one terrible mistake that I made long back. This happened sometime in the 1970s. I think probably most of you all may not have been born. And I was just a 6 or 7 year old boy who had just joined the first standard. And my sister, who's about 2 years younger to me, had just joined the nursery section. And my father had given me the responsibility to bring my sister back, to take her and bring her back from school. So our school was situated on the outskirts of the city, and we had various school buses going in different directions from the school. So on the first day and a few days thereafter, I made sure that she's in the right bus, and we would come home. After a few days, I thought she's very familiar with this process, and I just took it for granted. And one day, when I got down in the bus stop, I found that she wasn't there in the bus, and we had to walk a little distance to our home. And I was just walking back, crying. That's what possibly a 6-year-old would do. And before I could reach home, a few friends of mine had gone ahead of me, and they had informed my parents as well as the neighbors about it. So as I entered the lane, I saw this whole crowd in front of my gate, and another thing happened was my dad. I can empathize with him now, being a parent, but at that moment I could just see him totally upset. He just went, took out a branch from a creeper that was there and gave me the spanking of my life. And that made things worse. But then luckily for us, a man who happened to be the father of my sister's friend brought her back home. And she had actually boarded the wrong bus along with her classmate and gone in a different direction, and that caused this whole confusion. That was a great lesson indeed for me from the mistake that I made. And I have learned from then on not to take things for granted and to be responsible any activity or task that I have been assigned or to do. But now, let me come to the another portion of it, the first part of the theme for today about forgetting the mistake, because I don't think I have been able to forget what happened on that day. I know that I should let that remain as an incident and let go and move on with life, but that has not happened. It had actually hampered my confidence from there on, and I always feel very nervous taking up any assignment or any responsibility, but when I take it up, I make sure that I do it to the best. So this had actually hampered me a lot in life and at work. And one place that really helped me improve and work on this is in the Toastmasters. Because in Toastmasters, it's not only about better speaking that we learn, it's also better learning and better thinking. And that's how I got to be in Toastmasters, and it has helped me to overcome and face this particular challenge that I have. Now, coming to Toastmasters, I think the person who founded the Toastmasters movement is an epitome of persistence and what one can learn from possibly mistakes or not a good way of doing things. Because the first Toastmasters movement meeting was in 1905, and this person, Dr. Ralph Smedley, who was working with the YMCA, opened a club. Then his job took him to various places, and then each place that he moved on to, he started a new club, the earlier club failed. This went on, and believe it or not, the first proper permanent club was established only in the year 1924. That is 19 years after that. So he persisted till then, and he made sure that he learned from whatever mistakes he's possibly made and made sure that that club would continue to be a model club. And it has, we now have around close to 16,000 clubs worldwide in 149 countries and over 3 lakh members. And we, Bangalore Toastmasters Club, formed in 1997, is one among this close to 16,000 clubs. So we have a whole, we are part of a whole big movement. Now, a typical Toastmasters meeting has 3 sessions. The first one is a prepared speech session, wherein members who are assigned the role of speakers would prepare the speeches and come here and deliver their speech. The second one is called the table topic session, and this is designed to help people improve their impromptu speaking skills. So we have a table topic master who would come here and give topics to speakers to speak on and improve their impromptu skill. The third session is called the evaluation session, and this is a very unique concept about Toastmasters that helps sustain and improve the Toastmasters movement. Another unique part of this is that while this is the third session, though the first 2 sessions have yet to start, the third session is already in progress, because this evaluation session involves evaluation of the meeting right from the beginning till the end while this evaluation session is going on. And this evaluation session is headed by a general evaluator. Now, it goes without saying that the general evaluator would be a very seasoned Toastmaster, an experienced Toastmaster. We'll come back later to the general evaluator of the day. Now, the general evaluator has 2 sets of people to assist him. One are each of these individual speeches have an individual evaluator to evaluate the speech. Apart from that, we have a team called the TAGGLE team. It's an acronym standing for Timer, R-Counter, Grammarian, and Listener. Now, the timer for today's speech would be Toastmaster Gurraj. I request Toastmaster Gurraj to please spell out the role of the timer.
Good evening everybody. I'm the timer for today. So, I think always I have this habit of never being on time, and today I have the timer. It's my duty to record the time of the meeting and as well as the individual speakers, how much time they take. So, the time for the speakers is 5 to 7 minutes. The first speech would be icebreaker speech. So for that, it's 4 to 6 minutes. 4 minutes I will show the green card, 5 minutes the yellow card, and 6 minutes the red card. And other speakers will have 5 to 7 minutes. 5 minutes green card, 6 minutes yellow, and 7 minutes red card. So I will be tracking the time like that, as well as the table topic speeches will be timed. And today's event, the table topics gets only 1 minute per speaker. So 30 seconds green card, 45 seconds yellow card, and 1 minute red card.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gurraj. So next we have the R-Counter, and the role will be played by Toastmaster Vishwanath. I request Vishwanath to please spell out the role.
Hello, good evening Toastmasters and guests. As a R-Counter, I will be listening to very carefully for the use of vocal pauses and crutch words. As you all know, it's okay, like, and, but. So these are the things I will be prompting it, and at the end of the meeting, I will be tracking all this before that and reporting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishwanath. And the grammarian for the day would be Toastmaster Jayashree Reddy. I request her to please specify your role.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian and responsible for introducing the word of the day, today's word is credence, that is belief. The usage of word credence in sentence would be, if you want to give credence to your business, you should develop a company website
I'll observe and make good usage of words and not that good usage of words and submit my report to the general evaluator. Thank you.
And the listener, this role would be played by Toastmaster Ghanshyam. Toastmaster Ghanshyam, could you please spell out your role?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today I have the big privilege of being the listener, and as we all know, listening is a very significant aspect of communication, and most important thing for me to listen intently, and I will jot down some significant aspects and points of the meeting. I will be going to ask few questions at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ghanshyam. Okay, dear Toastmasters and friends, yes, let's begin the meeting, the first session I meant. So, to begin the first session, the first speech is an icebreaker speech. And before we start the speech, let me call upon the evaluator of the speech. We have the privilege of having the founder president to be the evaluator of this speech, Toastmaster Robinson. I request you to please read out the guidelines of the icebreaker speech.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. First speech is an icebreaker. The purpose of the speech is for the speaker to introduce himself and to learn the basic structure of a public speech. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robinson. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, this speaker needs no introduction. Well, that is for two reasons. One, because he has been a part of the club for a long time. And secondly, he himself is going to give his introduction today, so I'm not going to talk much on his introduction. And timer, please note his speech timing will be 4 to 6 minutes. And the speech title is 3 C's of my life. 3 C's of my life. Toastmaster Vijay, Kalkundri.
Important C's of life are choices, chances, and changes. So you have to make a choice to take a chance if you want to see change in our life. As the theme says, you may commit a mistake. You have to forget it. If you want to change yourself, learn the lesson from it. For that, you need to have credence in yourself. The C has created a lot of havoc in our life in the year 2020. We all know why. And we all have to change ourselves in order to adapt ourselves in whatever lies ahead of us. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear change maker guests, good evening.
Good evening.
Do you all know where is Indian national flag manufactured in India? Yes, you all are right. So Dharwad in Bengaluru is the only place in India which has been authorized to manufacture Indian national flag. And I was born there. And also I was born in the same year when India lifted its first World Cup under the captaincy of Kapil Dev. Though I did not play then. So I was born to Vasudev was a banker and Jayashree was a telecom supervisor. Since both of my parents were working and busy in their professions, most of the upbringing happened by my neighbors, my friends, relatives, and all the other people. The 3 important C's of my life are, the first was childhood. My upbringing happened at a place called Bellary, which is around 400 kilometers from here. Apart from mining, Bellary is also known for its 2 reasons. One, weather. Because there are only 2 kinds of weather in Bellary. One is summer and very hot summer. So in my childhood, I spent most of my time playing cricket and watching a lot of action movies in the theatres. Apart from that, visiting exhibitions on the weekends. So I have made a lot of good friends in my childhood, who are my friends even till today. The second important C was college, because college is so special, because the first time when we got liberated from all the restrictions of the house, and apart from that I had an icing on cake, I had a privilege of staying in hostel. In hostel, we had a lot of these crazy things like chapati eating competition, 24-hour sleeping competition, and those crazy birthday celebrations, and these memories are etched in my life for the rest of my life. So the third C is career. So earlier we have heard of this adage that if you throw a stone in Bangalore, it is likely that it will fall on a dog or a software engineer. But now I think it has changed, like software engineers have overtaken the number of dogs in the city. So I was a software engineer. I started my career in Reliance Industries as an intern, and then after that I went to work for a very small, medium, large organization. And currently I am working with one of the startups called Reflection, where I am working as a senior manager and leading a team of enthusiastic technologists who want to make a dent in the startup ecosystem. So after this, all of these three important C's, my childhood, college and career, have been tied together with another C that is called clan, and that's my family. They form the backbone of my life and who have held me together. With one of a common friend, I met my wife Anita, who is from KGF. And I don't like conflict, and I avoid, because my wife likes Rocky Pie. So after that, like we went to different places, we went to different destinations, and then like last year, we welcomed our daughter Vedika on 13th January. After that, I spent a lot of my time playing seesaw in the park, listening to Coco Melon music and changing nappies. So this has been my favorite pastime, and I'm very excited to see what lies ahead. All of these three C's have been tied together with an important factor, and that is communication. And hence, I promise to give another set of three C's in my coming days, that is commitment, consistency and creativity. And that can only happen when I'm going to work on this by giving more time to the communication. And believe me, Bangalore Toastmasters is going to give me that training ground where I can improve on my communication skills and become a better version of myself. That's how I can change myself. And I'm looking forward to give more speeches and improve on my communication skills. Back to Toastmasters.
For the benefit of the guests, this is a milestone speech. This is the first speech a Toastmaster would give during his or her Toastmaster journey, and so that's the reason why we have a standing ovation for Toastmaster Vijay, and that was in fact a lovely speech. And we've heard a lot of three C's during his speech, and if you want further three C's of somebody who's cool, computer savvy and courteous, please wait for the next speaker. Meanwhile, I request you to please, I request the evaluator of the next speech, Toastmaster Alan Arana, to please read out the guidelines of this project.
Every speech needs a purpose, and the project is actually about writing a speech with a purpose. Now the purpose of that project is for the speaker to learn or review the basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. Best of luck to the speaker.
Thank you. This speech is from the Pathways Engaging Humor. It's a level 1 project, and the speech title is Save more on your two-wheeler maintenance. Timer, please note the speech time is 5 to 7 minutes. Now coming back to this speaker. He is an engineer by profession, and as our Toastmaster Vijay Kalkundri said, it's not surprising. But what is even more surprising is that he dabbles in something totally different, which is software for safety in automated parking lots. You know, that's something that works on safety, and he's always been concerned about others, so that's a great thing. And then this person is into technology, is really a tech savvy person, and he in fact is responsible for designing and implementing the present voting system that we are using in our club. Now I am no way anywhere close to him or connected with him in terms of, or have the same wavelength as him, because I am not tech savvy at all. But one thing that we share in common is our love for two-wheelers, bikes, especially RX 100. We are both great fans, and he's here today to talk more on this subject. So here's calling on Toastmaster Abhay Kothari to speak on save more on your two-wheeler maintenance. Toastmaster Abhay.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
I heard a popular saying or a thing that 75% of the opposite sex are attracted to well-built, beautiful and good-looking two-wheelers.
Oh.
While there is no credence in that fact, I am here to speak to you about general two-wheeler maintenance that you do almost every day, that you should do every day. Now, if we try to talk about two-wheelers in a general sense, I would be speaking about two-wheelers that are used for commuting, right? So something between the 100cc and the 150cc. So bikes as well as automatic scooters. So that's my aim for today. And the first point I'm going to talk to you about is about the very thing that you ride on. You may ride on your two-wheeler, but the thing that you actually ride on are your tires. Now, tire maintenance is the most absolutely, let's say, undermined aspect of two-wheeler maintenance, right? You use your tires frequently, and you abuse them. The roads abuse them as well, and then you probably change them. But what's the main aspect of tire maintenance is, let me ask you a question. Toastmaster Joes, he already shared a connection between us, like RX 100 and everything. So this is how the bike looks. So I want to ask you a question. So what is the tire pressure that you set on your RX 100?
26 sentences.
Perfect. That's exactly what the guy at the petrol pump told him. Sir, 26, 36. Huh? I've been pressurizing tires for 25 years now. Huh? Perfect. So, but if you look at the owner's manual for RX 100, the tire pressure is 22 psi in the front and 32 psi in the rear. So Toastmaster Joe's probably puts 4 psi more in each of his tires. Now, what does that mean? Right? So we've got to account for what does that mean. So if you look at this piece of paper, and can you see this shaded part of the square?
No.
Yeah, shaded part of the square. That is 1 square inch. Okay, and he puts 4 pounds. That's 4 into 454 grams. That's about 1.816 kilograms on every this much section of his tire. Okay, so how does that impact Toastmasters? In the end, he will complain about bad roads that are even worse. But let's look at it from the ground up. Okay, the air in his tires is exerting pressure on the inside, and the potholes and everything else on the beautiful roads of Bangalore is exerting pressure on the outside. And both these things are exerting pressure on the tire and bounce and bounce. So he gets uneven wear on his tread. The uneven wear on his tread will contribute also to degraded tire life. But then, let's move up. Okay, the suspension of the vehicle. Now, as the tire is more bouncy, Toastmaster Jose feels more bounce. He feels the roads are bad. And then in the end, when he's having coffee with his friends, he said, even the good roads of Bangalore, I was like, oh yeah, it's very bouncy. I don't like the roads in Bangalore. They are worse. Of course, the best roads in Bangalore. Please remember that. So this is what happens with tires. Okay, so to maintain the apt amount of tire pressure, please do not refer to the guy at the service station or the fuel station. Please read this, the owner's manual. The manufacturer has put a lot of effort in developing this. There are a lot of graphics and things like that. There is a lot of visual stories and visual data that's present. So please go through the owner's manual. So the next aspect that I'm going to talk to you about after tires is the very thing that powers your lights, powers your horn, blinks your indicators. So what component is that?
Battery.
Perfect, battery. Now, if you take an analogy, a battery is just like a human being. Yeah, feed it well, it will give you proper performance. If you misuse it, abuse it, and draw a lot of energy from it, eventually it will die. So what do we do in terms of battery? Now imagine Toastmaster Somashekar here. He's a proper IT engineer, and every morning he has a good suit and a tie and everything. He wants to go to office, has a nice breakfast, and now he goes to his beloved Honda Activa or any scooter or such. So the first time he starts to self-start, the battery says, "Sir, I haven't had dinner properly." Why? Second time, why? Please, don't please have some mercy on me. And he thinks third time's a charm. Gives it a go, battery for me. He says, okay, I'll start the motor. So when he starts his motor and he goes off. So what's happened really there? Toastmaster Somashekar has really abused his battery. Now if you look at typical battery life, it takes about 2 years on average for it to deplete. But with proper maintenance, you can really double that. Now what happens is that the battery has to be charged and has to be discharged. So while you're charging the battery, what happens is that there is a component called an alternator, the one that you had on your old bicycle with a headlamp, you turn the bicycle, the light will glow. So that charges your battery inside. And then as the age of the vehicle increases, the charge that the battery receives is less. So after about a year or so, Toastmaster Jose's battery says, Toastmaster Somashekar's battery says, I'm tired, I don't get proper dinner or food these days. And then as he keeps on, daily doing that self-start routine, one day it will say, I'm gone. And he has to replace. So that's another 2,000 rupee bill. So tires maybe about 2,000 and battery about 2,000. So 4,000 rupees gone, right down. Now the third thing that I want to talk to you about is regular service intervals. Now this is also another greatly, let's say, neglected aspect of two-wheeler maintenance. Now every owner's manual will tell you that there is a service interval, and why it's important to keep that is because as the vehicle keeps on moving, your degrading components, your friction, heat, environmental stuff is actually degrading every component in your vehicle. And when the service guy tells you, "Sir, it's okay, one next service will change it," please don't believe that. Go ahead and change that component, because that will lead to another thing, and on and on. But if you follow all these three aspects of vehicle maintenance, I am sure that you will save a lot of money in the long run. Okay, so with that being said, please read your owner's manual. This is the Bhagavad Gita. This is the Bible for you to refer any problems in your vehicle. Be safe. Wear this helmet, but with the clasp tightened like this. Yeah, it shouldn't have gap like this, but it should be tight like this, so that from now on you won't get fined. Otherwise, with this thing, you will get fined by the Karnataka State Police. Back to the Toastmaster.
Let's hear it for another conversation. I thought we shared common ground on the RX100, but now I realize that he's way ahead even there. Thank you, Toastmaster Abhay Kothari, for those valuable tips. We now move on to the third speech, and I request the evaluator of the third speech, Toastmaster Melvin Smith, to read the project guidelines. This is from the Pathways Motivational Strategies, Project 1 from Level 3. Over to you, Toastmaster Melvin.
Thank you. It's called Purpose Statement, and the purpose of this project is for the member to cultivate understanding of how his emotions impact relationships. It's also designed to help members identify how others' emotions impact his emotional state. And we're going to hear some stories of his experience and journey of his emotions, of being aware of emotions when interacting with others.
Thank you, Toastmaster Melvin. I will please note the time is 5 to 7 minutes. And now coming to the speaker. This speaker is really a very motivating, inspiring person. His father was a district judge, but he was from an agricultural background and from a small town near Bangalore called Kothari. So that had some drawbacks, and when he came into the big city of Bangalore, he had to fend for himself. And knowing this person with this through sheer hard work and grit, he was a university rank holder in his engineering, and then he had a stint to various software multinational companies and a brief stint as an entrepreneur also, and now he works in the capacity of a senior director in the field of solar renewable energy. Now, one thing about him is whether it is sunshine or moon or whether it's raining, he is always energetic. That is something that you will never miss. Now, please join me in welcoming the past president of this club, the unassuming, dynamic and energetic Toastmaster Somashekar. Each title is the pause effect. The pause effect, Toastmaster Somashekar.
Thank you for pausing. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
I started my journey as an entrepreneur in 2014, and one of the most important tasks I had then was to build a team. It was a technology product which we were developing, and started looking for software engineers, and you know how you can find one in Bangalore. So, and yes, we found enough with around 2 to 3 years experience, but we needed a senior person to really lead this group of people. Actually, I reached out to my professional friends, and few of them obliged. They came on board. I was really excited that my product is really coming out well. But then surprisingly, within 6 months, 2 of them quit. I was really surprised. Not for a financial reason they quit. They said, no, I'm really failing. I cannot bring the product out. Later, I deep dived into the team. I spoke to them and I was asking what is going wrong. But what really happened was, as the senior people came on board, the first thing they did, they called for the meeting and they said, you are not doing the right thing. You're not having stand-up meetings, there's no agile process here, nothing's going on. So they just pointed out the problems within the team. The team refused to connect with them. Sheer lack of emotional intelligence. This is one classic example. Then I just looked back at my experiences. I got now, I changed many companies in the last 25 years. So there's one thing I always follow. Whenever I join a company, for 4 to 5 weeks, I used to be a backbencher. In meetings, I didn't talk unless I was called for. That really helped in a way. The team members who were there in the company, they never saw me as a threat. Because I've seen my colleagues who come in, what do you do as a newcomer? You come in, you really want to show that you are great and you have a lot of experience. They come and they bombard in the meetings. That was setting for a failure. They saw him always as a threat. I got that advantage, and this I call it as the first pause effect. This is a long pause. Why I'm saying pause? You cannot be like that, sitting in the corner of the room in meetings all the time, right? But for a few weeks, you do that, get the rapport of the team, and I'm very sure you will be well connected. Example number 2. having Wi-Fi everywhere, your connected watch, you are connected virtually. I'm very sure at least 50% of the people sitting here now are thinking about something else because you just saw that mail before you came in. Right? Well, they say it's waterproof, so I take my watch into the bathroom as well. So one day, I got a nasty message from my boss. I was totally agitated. I came out of the bathroom and wife was standing there. She said, "Do you know which hotel we are going on Friday for dinner?" I just blasted at her. There's Ziggy, there is Zomato. Please look into that and find the ratings and you decide. Why is that actually every time you're asking me? I was really, as much interest as she is. But then I not only ruined her day, my day, I set the stage for a battle that night. Right? My dear friends, this happened on several occasions. Being stress-free is one of the most important things to manage your emotions. When you are clouded by something else, you tend to behave like this. Right? What I came up with was, again, a pause effect. But here, I could not give a pause of 5 or 10 seconds. I wanted to see what is the optimal number. Because 5 seconds, if you don't respond to her, you know the next question. Right? Your spouse. So 2 seconds is a pause. I always try out now, especially when interacting with individuals. You might be irritated by the question, but just wait for 1 to 2 seconds. Your brain will calm down and you will start thinking in the right way. At least the tone of your answer would come down and people try to judge you by the tone. So this is example number 3. And the third example, again, it was something which I learned from one of our past presidents, Devabrata Datta. I used to go back home with him many times, and in the traffic or anywhere in the road, you know this happens all the time, the road rated, somebody will overtake you and then he will show all the, the gestures, you get agitated. This man, Devabrata Datta, always used to say thumbs up and give a very nice smile. Every time, though it's his mistake, that person's mistake, that really changed my behavior on the road. This happened 20 years back. Even now, at the road, I don't abuse anybody and I don't get irritated at all. That makes such a big difference. Again, this is a classic example of managing your emotions. My dear friends, logic and rational may not be working anymore. Yesterday in the newspaper, I saw 19 elementary school kids shot by an 18-year-old teen. How do you even explain that? It's beyond logic. I think it's time our education system brings in this topic of emotional intelligence, or the EQ, whatever we call it, as equivalent to IQ, right at the beginning stages. Now, when do you go to a counselor? When you are depressed, when you have problems. It's not the case. Everyone needs it. We are floating in the virtual world, forgetting that we are all human beings. We are hardwired to be emotional. It is needed. Maybe if we can bring that tweak in the education system, it will make a big difference. And being Toastmasters, there's one big thing we learn always. What is that? The listening skill. That is very, very important for you to understand somebody's emotions. So you already have that gift. So go home, bring in that small bit of pause effect, and I'm very sure you will have a great relation with your family, with your friends, and beyond. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Somashekar. I think we've had wonderful takeaways today, and that concludes the prepared speech session. So we know how to maintain our vehicles, we know the 3 C's of life and the pause effect. So something great today. And now the next role taker, I think possibly learned about the pause effect a little earlier, because he says that he had a lot of struggles in his life, and then he found his true identity, and now he is very calm and composed and stress-free. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now the second session, that is a table topic session, and we have to lead us through this table topic session a Toastmaster who is the past president of the club, and he in fact looks like the author of the monk who sold the Ferrari, but he possibly is the monk part I know very well. Okay, so here's welcoming Toastmaster Ayyappa Padachanda.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Okay, due to the positive time, I thought that we do a small change. So today's table topics theme is dance like nobody's watching, or exclusively for table topics. For this, without further ado, I'll call Toastmaster Alok, on stage. Toastmaster Teresa, Toastmaster George. Timer, please note, time is only 2 minutes. And Toastmaster Nitin will be evaluating whatever is happening here. Yes. Now, Toastmaster Alok, your topic is be the rainbow after the storms for someone. Your topic is be the rainbow after storms for someone. And Toastmaster George will evaluate on the fly what Alok is speaking. And Teresa is going to disturb the entire process. And your time starts now. Yes. Just 2 minutes.
No, just a plan.
Whatever you can do, disturbance. You can dance. Whatever. It's up to you. Yes. Quick. Huh? Evaluation on the fly. No distance. The posts are everything will start. Whatever. Yes. Time just 2 minutes. Yes.
Be the rainbow, it's very hard for Bangalore. We have seen how the weather has been in the last couple of weeks. All we do is be the rainbow. So these two folks are being the rainbow for me right now.
And his body language is very, very impactful.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for that. That is what I mean. I am the rainbow right now for all of you here because I am having great body language.
When there was a body
Teresa, you're the rain right now. You can wait. I am the rainbow, you're the rain. You can wait for some more time. Let's continue.
Just now he said 26, 38, 34.
And you can see his
understand
voice modulation is very amazing.
Thanks a lot for that. You see that? I'm being the rainbow, she's being the rain, and Bangalore weather is awesome. That's where you need to, what you need to do, Teresa, is understand how to be a rainbow. You're being rain right now.
One day there was a
And how to be a rainbow is bringing hope. Is bringing hope. That is what I'm trying to do here. By trying to sound above your voices, I'm bringing hope to the people here. That even if there are people like you on stage, they can still listen to me. So if they come on stage, they can still listen to me. Don't people like you on stage. She has learned from me. She is being the rainbow right now. She has learned from me. You see that there? She has learned from me. Exactly. That is what one likes to do. That is what one likes to do when it's raining. Baho mein aa jao. That is what one likes to do. Wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful.
Rain, I'm talking about a rain.
Exactly. Now I'm doing the rainbow. That doesn't work that way. It doesn't make work like that. I was the rainbow. I'm always the rainbow. You're the rain.
Oh my
Be blessing. Be blessing.
Oh my God.
Be blessing. You're patient. Be blessing.
My
Rain
dear,
is the one it's blessing.
Evaluator
teenagers.
Yes.
I am very much patient.
I totally agree with you. You're the rainbow for your children. You're the rainbow for your children. I'm the rainbow to this crowd.
Thank you for everything.
Now I request Toastmaster Nitin to give the same speech with an improvised version. Improvised version of the same talk. But you are the evaluator.
Okay, good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests.
I guess. Sorry, Puneet will be evaluating the evaluator.
Okay. So I guess I have to evaluate the whole thing, what happened here.
But speech.
Plus also speech. Because when the moment you asked me as a table talking master to start evaluating, in fact I was telling Vijay before this that Abhay is going to come with a wonderful table topics and it is quite challenging, and it is really challenging. Now, the first thing which happened when I witnessed a speech and attempt to disrupt. First, I thought of, my memory went back to the time when I used to buy fish in the fish market.
That's the scene. A lot of confusion. Everybody's talking, right? And but Alok, kudos to him. He started dominating this whole episode, and Teresa, instead of interrupting, started listening to him. She forgot her role. And evaluators started evaluating at some point of time. Then he thought, okay, let me watch these two, what's happening. And he became silent. That's what happened. Then Teresa realized that she is being dominated by Alok. She started singing. The moment she started singing, I thought of Indian hands. Because one person is singing, another is talking, and this person watching. This is what is happening in the whole thing. But kudos to Alok, because he is a Toastmaster par excellence, and he has done a table topic. He was able to take courage, and able to control the whole episode. And there was no stopping. I really like the way he spoke about it, and he stuck to his speech. There's nothing I could add to what he was talking about rainbow, and with all the disturbance, he managed. And somebody had to remind the evaluator that, look, you were supposed to evaluate. Still, he was not able to come out because he was so overawed by the song which Teresa was singing. And Alok was still trying to subdue her and continue his speech. But it was a fun time watching. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm sure all the Toastmasters here enjoyed. And so do you. Thank you very much.
Where is Puneet? Yes. Yes. Now the question to you is why should you evaluate Nidhi? Yes.
I think Nathan has got a patina of diplomacy since the last time we have observed him. His energy has gone sort of like a wholesome way in which he's covering all aspects. His topic was just to evaluate Alok. He ended up evaluating all three of them in a very wholesome way. Why I should evaluate Nitin?
Yes.
I can't. He's way beyond my evaluation scale. I believe the kind of experiences he has got across leading the club and leading us as members is phenomenal. And he makes so many of us, I remember really good memories of him making me feel at home at his place when we had a committee meeting. So it's hard for me to evaluate him critically, but I think to appreciate that he's really got a wholesome view. Even in the previous meeting, we all got to observe that when he was anchoring or he was part of the news channel, he did a very wholesome way, and he won for that as well. So I don't think I can evaluate you yet. Matter of time. Thank you.
Now I request Toastmaster Sashank. Your topic is ready, steady, go, and Toastmaster Smita is going to demonstrate. Yes. Your topic is ready, steady, go, and Toastmaster Smita is going to demonstrate whatever he speaks.
Okay. So as I mentioned in my last table topic session, when my dear Toastmaster Vaidyanathan spoke about going late, what was my first answer? The topic is given to the wrong person because I'm always late. What were the reasons for me being late? I'm newly married. I was newly married. It's been 14 months since I got married. Instead of coming here at 5:30 and waiting, I can at least spend more time with my wife. What would I do? What would I do? I can play with my cat. Wife is more important than cat. Okay, what would I do with my wife?
Should I?
Please?
Maybe you will play cat and dogs.
With my wife? I can play husband and wife with my wife. I'm not playing cat and dog. But I also mentioned the fact that we can talk to our mentors. Coming here or over call, we can talk to our mentors, improve, and then be a better version of ourselves. So that's.
Thanks a lot. Due to positive time, that's it from my end. Thanks a lot.
Another round of applause for that entertaining session that we had. Now we come to the third and the final session of the Toastmasters meeting. Of course, this is going to be a serious session. And to lead us through this session, as I said earlier, we have a general evaluator who heads this session. Now, I would definitely say that this gentleman who is a general evaluator is possibly the ideal person to be a general evaluator, because he is a engineer in the field of data engineering. Now, I don't know what that really means, but only thing I know is that whenever he has to present something in the club or in the WhatsApp group or anything, there is a particular way he presents the data, which is so easy and simple and very understanding. It really helps all of us, and that, I think, if that is data engineering, I think it will add a lot of value to the evaluation session. And this person is a past president of the club and an ever smiling person. But beneath that smile, you will get direct points and evaluations. So be prepared for a very valuable and wonderful evaluation session. Over to the general evaluator, Toastmaster Vijay.
Voting.
Thanks so much for the kind evaluation. So, when Toastmaster Robinson D'Souza started this club, he got two things right. He got two things right. The very first one was, he named it as Bangalore Toastmasters Club. This predates anything known as search engine optimization, because this is even before the founders of Google started Google. This was in 1997. The effect, we started getting the good effect of good, what do you call that, as whatever that is good things, of naming this as Bangalore Toastmasters Club, because when people search for Bangalore and Toastmasters in Google, this is the first thing. So that's one thing. So that's great foresight. The other thing that he did was, I do not know if it was foresight or coincidence, is that it was started in 1997. When it started in 1997, that is 50 years of Indian independence. Now, every time India celebrates a landmark, the club also will celebrate a landmark. 75 years of Indian independence, we hit 25. 100 years of Indian independence, we hit 50. Now, why am I telling all this? I have been noticing how this year the government is celebrating the 75th year of Indian independence with this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So much so that even the metro is painted full of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. That's metro. Yesterday I saw an advertisement, a tender notification for Bombay Port Trust. Small tender notification. There also Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So this gives every citizen a feeling there's something going on. Now, having said that, we also have this 25th anniversary, and this will happen only this year. You can't celebrate 26th year, although you can say 26th is more than 25th, no. But have we taken the complete advantage of this 25th year? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Because then everybody had to coordinate with that. The agenda should say that celebrating 25th years. When the Sergeant at Arms says starting, this is the 25th year, we have to say. That has to be reinforced by the president. Then that has to be reinforced by the table topics master. Not the table topics master, at least by the TOD. And then there has to be a poster here saying, you are welcome to the 25th year club. Because this is the only club in India who can celebrate it with pomp. Because we have also lived up to that kind of an expectation. So we must do that. We should kind of leave a legacy. We have not lost it. We have 7 more months to go. I think we should reinforce it. Coordinate it with the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Next time, most of us here will be really old or may not even be there when the 50th year happens. So let's not leave these opportunities like this. Now, having said that, let me start. I started with a slightly improvement note rather than an encouraging note. Of course, this meeting was started, did not start at 6:30, it started on Monday because we had planned as early as 5 days. It was started by the Vice President Education 5 days back, really good. It takes a lot to plan a meeting, and to plan 24 meetings is really difficult. And she's done it very well. And the Sergeant at Arms also contacted me ahead of time, gave me a few details. These are all much ahead of time. This is not very easy. So I will not go to the small things, that is small aspects of what you did as a Sergeant at Arms. But what I would say is, everything is good, but try to leave a legacy. Try to leave a legacy. For example, I'm not a great fan of that person, Puneet Surana, but he left a legacy as a Sergeant at Arms. This was his contribution. This was his contribution. And it stays. So try to leave a legacy, 25th year, leave a legacy as a role. In some way or the other, that will go on. You still have time. So you have 6 more weeks. You should try to leave a legacy. And President, as usual, she has the best of the stories, and it's all from personal. So there is nothing that it is mugged or anything of that sort. You don't feel that story so well. So that's the way to tell stories. You can easily cook up some, not cook up, you can tell a Nelson Mandela story. I mean, it's heard ad nauseum. People will forget about it. So, but this is, I really remember all the stories. So that is really good. Only the introduction part, pure adjective introductions. Even if you take that introduction, anybody can give that introduction because the way you introduce the Toastmaster of the day, there's no story behind that. So that can be slightly tweaked. Now then came the Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster of the day is the Sutradhar. I mean, he is the MC of the meeting. So now there is an important, and this preparation started 5 days ago. See here, guess you don't get an opportunity as a Toastmaster of the day here. You get it just once in a year, twice in a year, that's all. So you give it all, give everything. The thought process and the mind space starts at least a week before. So that was very well done. And there is a saying, Toastmaster of the day is like a thread in a garland. Garland is great, everything is fine. Thread in a garland, without the thread the flowers will fall apart. Who are the flowers? The speakers. At the same time, the thread should not be seen. If the thread is the same in the garland, you don't wear a thread alone, right? So Toastmaster Jose Paul was really embodiment of such a thread. He held all the flowers, all the speakers so well, and he never made himself come in front of the. He didn't make himself more evident. Yet all the speeches were connected. So that requires some amount of experience, some amount of balance in mind. So I think that was fantastic from Toastmaster Jose Paul. But that is really good. Only one grouse I have, not a grouse, one improvement that I would say. When you introduce a person, don't have multiple aspects of it. Just one aspect, hit one aspect of it, and enough. When you introduce Abhay Kothari, talk to him about his enthusiasm about automobiles and bring it to the whatever model that you were talking about, and just leave it at that. Otherwise, what happens? You're talking too many things to remember. That's not needed for an introduction. So, having said that, that was really really good. Now let us go to the individual evaluations of the individual meeting, individual speakers. So the first speech of Toastmaster Vijay Kalkundri was done by Toastmaster Robbins. So shall I invite him for the evaluation?
Let's not waste time. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, everyone present here, and particularly the speaker, Vijay Kalkundri. Fellow Toastmaster guests, the speaker was presenting his first speech, icebreaker, from the dynamic leadership path. It has 2 parts. First is to introduce himself, and second, come out with the basic structure of a public speech. Now, first part, how many of you are in to give your icebreaker speech, the first speech? Kindly raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For you, this is the best. For you all, this is the best lesson to learn. Observe somebody presenting an icebreaker. See, the way he took us through his speech, he asked a question. What was the question he asked? He asked a question.
National flag.
Yeah, national flag. You will not forget. Why? He connected national flag, the place where national flags are manufactured, with his birthplace. Everybody says birthplace. That's how to connect. Then second he asked, some winning by the Indian team. World Cup. Which year? That's the year he was born. See how he Garland. Excellent. Like that, he knows the audience. And who brought him up? Neighbors. The parents were busy, both were working. And child, he was busy with visiting exhibitions. College, he remembers 3 things. What are the 3 things? Chapati then.
Birthday celebration.
Yeah. Chapatis, sleeping 24 hours, and celebration of birthdays. And carried, he told us about the first job in Reliance. Now he is a senior manager. He also narrated his wife. KGF, Anita and Vedika, his daughter. Yeah. Excellent effort. But only one thing, coming to the speech, other speech pattern, where it was, clarity was there, spoken language was very clear, and you all understood. Eye contact, yes, effectively use eye contact, moving around, engaging the audience. And gestures were there. Audience awareness, yes. You are aware of audience engagement needs. Eye contact, continuously your eye contact with the audience. Only one suggestion, apart from you are very comfortable. Only one suggestion more is vocal variety. You can remember the presentation from Somashekar. How he used vocal variety. He said, shooting near US, reaching a road, shot will be raised. That one, where you are. There is 4 people. Otherwise, the 4.
So, Robinson sir was right. If you want to emulate an icebreaker speech, you should watch this. Speech. It had all the elements of a good speech, regardless of even if it is even beyond an icebreaker. Very well done. So let us go to the next evaluator. Next evaluator is Toastmaster Alan evaluating Toastmaster Kothari's speech.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and speaker Abhay Kothari in particular.
Good evening.
So the purpose of Abhay's project was to present a well-organized, well-delivered speech that had a defined purpose. Now, what was his purpose? He clearly laid it out in the title. Save more on your two-wheeler maintenance. The best part about that is when he came here, his opening, which was very important, had a lot of intrigue. It used pause to good effect. Moving on to then the body, he did a lot of brave things. What were those brave things? He made his speech interactive, informative, and the best part, instructional. It takes a lot of guts to do something like that in a speech. So kudos to you, Abhay. That was very, very well done. Having said that, he had an introduction, but when he came, he said, "Good morning, everybody." I would have brought the intrigue line in and then said good morning. That would have added a good layer to your speech. The other aspect about your speech was that I felt with your title, Save More on Your Two-Wheeler Maintenance. It could have been as simple as save yourself. People are wondering what are you going to talk about. Then the intrigue of your introduction makes a lot more sense. The other aspect is, while I enjoyed your introduction and your body, which was very, very comprehensive, and I enjoyed it personally because I found it very, very informative as a two-wheeler enthusiast. But as you came to the end of your speech, I felt your ending could have been more impactful. It was very instructional, and then you ended your speech. If you had ended with a call to action or something to remember the speech by, it would have added a lot. Something as simple as, so the next time you look at your vehicle, if you save your vehicle, remember you will save much more than the vehicle. You probably can save yourself as well, right? It could be as simple as that, but just a call to action can add a lot to your well-titled speech. Save more on your two-wheeler maintenance. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Alan Arana. I am so glad that Toastmaster Abhay Kothari gave a speech that is useful. I am tired of this motivational speeches. It was not motivational in any manner, but it really was motivational for me to make sure that my car, I don't give it, I don't set it at 34, because the same petrol guy says, sir, 34. I put 34, I don't even know. So it has to be 30. That's what the book says. Alright, so next speech by Toastmaster Somashekar was evaluated by Toastmaster Melvin Smith. So let's invite him.
If you handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart, said Eleanor Roosevelt. And today, this is exactly what Somashekar had to use in a speech where he had to talk about his emotions impacting relationships. He started by giving his own personal stories, which gave credence to all that he was going to follow up with. The three good things of his speech was, which I took from it, was when he said, if to be stress-free is the cause, when you are not stress-free, this is the cause for you not to be able to handle your emotions. That was a very strong hitting line, because he also gave that experience of how he narrated his emotional with his wife. Wives are always emotional. And so he narrated that. And he ended with a very current aspect of what's happening, which everybody is so emotionally hurt about the shooting in America. And the third one was when he gave his own experience from his workplace. What I thought he could have done better was when he spoke to be a little bit more emotional. He had good quality of voice, his posture was excellent, his flow was really excellent. What I thought, if you were a little more dramatic, emotional, you already got everybody listening to you. Connect with them. Get that story to really hit them hard. I think you have done exactly what the theme of today is, to forget your, I would have said it the wrong way, that's how I'm looking at it over there. Forget your mistakes and remember the lesson, that emotions play a big role in each one of our lives. Congratulations to you, Somashekar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Melvin, for that clean evaluation. And Toastmaster Somashekar, I must say all the examples were so contemporary, and so it was easy for us to assimilate. Alright, let us now, as Toastmaster Jose Paul mentioned, we have a team of sub-evaluators or people who note down a few things. So let us start with the timer's report. You can stand there, turn around and give
I think everybody is going faster than ever today, and I'm kind of struggling to catch up with your timing because you're all going very fast, like a bullet train today. Everybody was on time except just for Abhay Kothari. He just spoke like 40 seconds extra, so everybody was on time. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Let me now invite Toastmaster Vishwanath to give his account.
Thank you. I think the meeting number 13226 in terms of the overall records of our counter. Overall, I could only say that.
Please speak a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about that. I could say that overall, the maximum usage of our counter was showing predominantly, it was reflecting in the app which I had done it so far, and with and especially and the repetitive words, especially by please, charge, maybe by Toastmaster Abhay Kothari, sorry about it, and especially for if repetitive words from Toastmaster Jose Paul and Toastmaster Ayappa, that especially on the year, and relevant to the other counters, I think it was perfect in terms of the numbers. Probably it might be a little more and higher, but the R counter was maximum. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let me now invite the grammarian, Toastmaster Jayashree, to give it.
There were a lot of good usage of words in the session, like bombard, oblige, phenomenal, legacy, call for action. He made his speech interactive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'll call you in a moment. Now there was after the prepared speeches we had table topics master. Table topics master. Okay. Table topics master is evaluated with the run rate that he achieves, that he or she achieves. Now, if you look at the run rate, usually people clock at around 1 person every 2 minutes or 1 person every 2.5 minutes. By the time they tell the topic, get the people, they go back, another person comes. So, but can you believe this? This person had a person coming here for every 1 minute. All that he had was 8 minutes, and he had 7 people, slightly over 1 minute. So that's phenomenal by Toastmaster Ayappa, because I would not have even, I would have thought, how is he going to handle it in 9 minutes? It is completely out of the box to get 3 people for all the 3 speaking. It is not easy at all. So that was fantastic. The only thing, since I have to tell this so that he does not feel too good about himself. So the only thing is, it was for purely extroverts, but that was the situation that he had. For example, Alok and Teresa can handle it. George was finding it a bit difficult to handle it. I would have found it a bit difficult to handle such a thing. But that's only for pure, really extroverts. But again, the thread in the garland example I gave about Toastmaster Jose Paul applies to him. Ayappa did not hog any time at all. He made others take the time. That requires a lot of mental effort, and that's not easy. Okay? So it is easy to hog your time, but it's very easy not to hog your time. So that's good. So having said that, I think now you should go ahead and vote on your and the password is Sky, right? SKY. SKY. Don't worry about the caps or lower caps. Right. So in the meanwhile, as you vote, let me talk about this. When you go to Shanti Sagar or any of these restaurants, right, they have this full meal and a half meal, or a mini meal, as they call it. It's not half meal, it's a mini meal. So what's the difference between a full meal and a mini meal? Mini meal has some portion, some things of the full meal taken out. It's not like everything in the full meal, it's a small part. No, it's not like that, right? It's some portions taken out. Only then it's a mini meal. Same way, when you have a constrained meeting, when you have a meeting for a shorter period of time, you have to take elements out of it. If you do not take elements out of it, what happens is all the roles start becoming a bit cramped. When all the roles start becoming a bit cramped, it's not going to be a full meeting. He could have taken out something from this, something more from this. Then it would be, at the same time, some innovations like what Toastmaster Ayyappa did will also come when you are really constrained. You don't have time, people start innovating. So that's a good aspect that you'll have to slightly, next time you have to give a shorter meeting, you'll have to look at that. Now, let's find out if all of you were listening. Alright? So let me invite the listener, Toastmaster Ghanshyam, to ask you if you were, to test you if you were listening. Ghanshyam, why don't you come here all the way? Yes, please.
How many friends Hannah had?
Two. She was a problem.
What were the 3 C's in which is
Chance, choice, change.
Yeah, choices, chances, and changes. Okay. How many people has love for the two-wheeler?
Sorry?
How many people has love for the two-wheeler? 75%. 75.
Okay.
What's the PSI for the front tire according to manual in the RX 100?
30.
22.
20.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ghanshyam. Having said that, let me conclude my general evaluation. So back to Toastmaster.
Toastmasters, another big round of applause for our general evaluator and the other evaluators we had. As I told you, I'm sure you would have found it very valuable, advices that you've been given, and I wish to thank the committee for giving me this opportunity, and here's over to the President. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jose. The meeting, we will have a break now, and the results will be announced towards the end. We have a business meeting where only the members can stay back, and after the break, after your refreshments, the guests can leave. But I'd like, before that, to please invite the first-time guests, if you all can come up to the stage, give your name and mention how did you get to know about the Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Yes.
Hello everyone, I'm Bhargav. I actually heard about Toastmasters through my cousin who was a member in Toastmasters Club in his company, and I heard about it there. So my friend and I, we were searching for clubs to go where to find. Like he said, this is the first club that popped up when we searched for Toastmasters Club in Bangalore. So we thought we'll give this a shot, and we came here, and it was a really good experience hearing all the speakers speak, and even the table topics, it was really good.
Hello everyone. As my friend said, we're searching for one of the best clubs to join in Bangalore, and it popped up, and I went to it, and I came to know it was one of the oldest clubs in India as well. So that struck in my mind, and so we really wanted to come here and try this, and had a lot to learn, and it was fun. Thank you.
Hello all, I am Meghanathan. I actually work in a company nearby. I didn't know this was the best club in Bangalore. I just knew it was nearby my office. So I was looking for some club to actually participate. So luckily I got the best one. So thanks. And it was really entertaining.
Hi everyone, my name is Shelma Futtal. So I got to know about this club few months, maybe few months from now, because I wanted to actually enroll my children to this club. So I just thought I'd inquire first. So I got to know and I came over here. Then I realized it is not for kids, it's for adults who are 18 and above. So So I sat through and I understood and I really liked. So I thought, okay, let me give a shot there, join as a member. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vijay. So I came to know about Toastmasters 10 years back. My cousin told me about Toastmasters, but I never went to any club. So I googled about it today morning, what Toastmasters clubs are in Bangalore. So I came to know about that. It's the first result that I came here. I really enjoyed the session. I think, this is a platform where I can learn skills, new skills. Very good. I'm glad to be here.
So, yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Meghna, and it's my first time here. So, about Toastmasters, I always knew about it since forever, but I think I hadn't really made an effort to sort of come and join any clubs as such. So, even today, I think I was just trying to Google up when are these events happening. I think around 5:15 today. I just Googled up and I saw that there's something happening. I just called up and it's happening at 6:30. Office is in Kothari, so I just stopped by. And what I really liked about this club so far is that I'm a learning and development specialist by myself. So what I also feel is that learners don't need a lot more content, right? So we do have a lot of it. What learners really need is feedback, enough of feedback and constructive feedback. So that I saw happening here at the club, and I think that's the really nice one that I like. So good job, guys.
I'm a recent graduate working in nearby company. My name is Moksha. What I faced difficult, what I realized was I was not able to communicate my technical knowledge properly. So I just asked my friend, what can I do to improve my speaking skill? And hence this Toastmaster was suggested. So this is my first session. I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rakshil. My name is Rakshil, and I got to know about the Toastmasters because of my cousin. She told me about a lot. But I'm a kind of introvert and I just done with well examination. And this is the first class.
Good to see so many first-time guests, and we only hope it's going to get bigger as well. So now we have the break, and then we will have the business session in 7 minutes.